Good morning. I'm Reverend Patrick Mahoney with the Christian Defense Coalition. As you can see behind me, we're standing in front of the Department of Justice here in Washington, D.C. We have gathered here today because we have sent a letter to Alberto Gonzales, the Attorney General, asking him to enforce the ban on partial birth abortion. That ban was supported by both Democrats and Republicans alike, and it passed overwhelmingly in the House and Senate. President Bush then signed it. That was in 2003. Shortly after it was signed, actually within an hour, it was enjoined by a federal court. That means a federal court said the ban could not go in place because it violated the Constitution. Immediately, a series of court challenges began, which culminated in the case being argued before the United States Supreme Court in November of 2006. And just on April 18th, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision, upheld the ban. In other words, we're thrilled about this. The Supreme Court said that Congress did have the right to ban this barbaric procedure. And so now we are 1 month after that decision, and we have serious concerns. Will the Attorney General and the Department of Justice enforce this ban, and when will this ban be enforced? You may go to ChristianCommunicationnetwork.org, and you can see the letter that we sent to the Attorney General. We just met with the Office of Public Affairs here at the Department of Justice. He promised he would hand-deliver the letter to the Attorney General. We sent it yesterday. So we're going to have several people speak in just a moment. But clearly our concern is this. Will this brutal, barbaric, violent act against women and children be banned? And when will it be banned? It would be tragic if the will of the American people was not realized and partial birth abortions were to continue for months and perhaps even a year after the Supreme Court issued their decision. We'll start with Caitlin Mahoney and then Day Gardner and then Dr. Paul Shank. And we do want to tell you, keep informed to National Pro-Life Radio and other vehicles, and we will keep you currently informed on when the actual ban will be put into place. Caitlin?
I'm Caitlin Mahoney, spokesperson for Generation Life. Partial birth abortion is a violent procedure which destroys innocent life. Americans overwhelmingly want partial birth banned, and Democrats and Republicans in Congress voted in a bipartisan fashion to end the practice. I would hope that the Bush administration would move as quickly as possible to see innocent life is protected and that the law is enforced. Day Gardner.
Hello, I'm Day Gardner. I am president of the National Black Pro-Life Union, and I would like to read this statement. There are many in the United States who decry the barbaric practices of other countries, like the killing fields of Cambodia, genocide in Rwanda, and the dungeons of Saddam Hussein, and rightfully so. Yet they would uphold and even support the vile and barbaric practice of abortion. Partial birth abortion is a procedure that includes stabbing a beautiful innocent baby in the base of the skull to suck out his or her brains in order to collapse the skull so that the dead child can then be delivered. Millions of children, Americans, were killed this way, almost home, almost free, yet violently killed in this gruesome, unthinkable, barbaric manner. Recently, the United States Supreme Court voted to ban this evil procedure. Now it is the Department of Justice's duty to enforce the law banning partial birth abortion. And today, the American people demand to know when and how the law will be enforced. I would like to introduce to you now Dr. Paul Haim Benedictus Shank, who will also make a statement.
Thank you very much, Day. And as Day just mentioned, here at the Department of Justice, we met with an official, a representative from the Public Affairs Office of the Department of Justice, who assured us that the letter that we have both sent by mail and hand-delivered here at the Department of Justice will be brought to the attention of the Attorney General Alberto Gonzales and to the Justice Department officials who are responsible for responding to a request of this nature, or a demand, as it were, of this nature. We have delivered the letter here to the Department of Justice. We were received very warmly, and we did have a courteous welcome here this morning. So we are encouraged in that respect that the Attorney General will see the letter. Several statements were sent to the Department of Justice yesterday. Statements were included with the letter this morning, and now we're making those statements here in front of the Justice Department in Washington. We're at the corner now of 10th Northwest and Pennsylvania Avenue, and this is the headquarters of the Department of Justice and the Office of the Attorney General of the United States. The statement which National Pro-Life Action Center submitted this morning is that there is no greater societal scandal than the failure to enforce a law designed to protect the innocent and the vulnerable. The people of the United States have expressed their will through their elected officials, and the Supreme Court has upheld their will to ban and to make illegal this procedure. It is estimated that between 10 and 20,000 children are killed at the threshold of their births by this gruesome and totally unnecessary act. The time to act in their defense is now, and the Department of Justice cannot afford to falter in this regard. Now, it's very important for us to point out here that the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld a legislative act of the United States Congress. And as Day Gardner pointed out, it was a bipartisan act. Democrats and Republicans together. This is the United States Supreme Court affirming the act of legislation that was passed by Congress and signed into law by the President of the United States. It is a completely legitimate legislative act making partial birth abortions in the United States a notorious crime and felony, similar to the killing of a newborn infant. And now we are asking the Department of Justice, when and how will you enforce the law? We're asking the Department of Justice to act legally. And if they disregard the law, then they are acting illegally. So it's very important that the Attorney General get the message. Enforce the law now. There is no greater scandal than to have a law which is flagrantly disregarded, not only by the public, but most especially by the government. No claim can be made that this law does not enjoy the support of the American people. All three branches of government have signed on to this law. And that's why we're here this morning at the Department of Justice. We're going to ask you, those of you that are watching, to respond. You can do so by contacting the Department of Justice and asking them when a statement will be issued outlining when this law will be enforced and how it will be enforced.
I would just like to thank ProLifeNews.tv for being here today. If you want to get more information on this, or if you please contact National Pro-Life radio.net. We will have this particular broadcast will be seen on nplr.net throughout the day, and we might air it a few times throughout the week also. Again, who you've just heard today was Pastor Patrick Mahoney. Also, his daughter Caitlin was here. Pastor Mahoney is with the Christian Defense Coalition, and his daughter is with the Coalition for Life. Dr. Paul Shank, who you just heard recently, is the Executive Director of the National Pro-Life Action Center here in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. So we're right here in the mix of the Department of Justice, and we'd like to remind you to watch NPLR.net for more information. I'm Day Gardner with the National Black Pro-Life Union, and is there anything else you'd like to say, Dr. Shank?
I think we're done.
Okay, I think we're done. Stay tuned for more. As we get it, you'll get it.